Hey, hi everyone. And it's so nice to see all of you here to celebrate the work of Karen. It's very touching, and I know she's watching us from above and, just very happy about this. So thank you for being here. And I would like to also thank her husband, Rich, and Renuka for helping me organize this. I really appreciate all your help. And for those of you that don't know me, I am Gloria Mindock, editor of Cervena Barba Press. I first met Karen at a reading I was having at the Armory, and I had the studio for about 9 years. And the minute we met, we hit it off. And I also met Renuka through Karen, and the three of us became the best of friends. My favorite time with Karen and Renuka actually happened every day. Karen, Renuka, and I would message each other on Facebook Messenger, and we would share how our day was going, and we would send silly gifts to each other to make us laugh. And it didn't matter what happened during the day. We could have a bad moment or share some exciting news, and we'd send gifts to each other and try to crack each other up. And it's one thing I really, really miss. I published two books by Karen, the first being Tales from the Teacup Palace and Our Imperfect Bodies this year. And if you haven't seen the book, this is it. And Karen was also part of the press, and she did interviews of writers. Uh, before, um, Before I read her poem, I just want to remind you to mute and unmute yourself when it's time to read, and not to worry if someone reads the same poem you had picked out. Still read it because it comes from your heart, and that's the most important thing. I don't care if we have to hear it 3 times, it's here. So please don't, look for something else to read. And the poem I chose to read is called All That I've Got. All that I've got. Laying here with approximately a year and a half to live, suffused with the sweet knowledge that a good book awaits, that the shouts of school children down the hill will continue year after year, that the sweet sensation of tasty food made by a friend will soon fill my mouth, making it water in anticipation. That I can rest, can find comfort in laying down and closing my eyes and letting the sweetness of an early summer day wash over me through the open windows. I savor my peace, its very sweetness. And next, I would like to introduce Renuka Raghavan.
Thank you, Glo. Welcome, everybody. It's so nice to see so many faces that Karen has mentioned over time. She's mentioned Uncle Jerome. Uh, of course, she's talked about her mom, her weekly calls with you, and she's mentioned Susan and how much she loves her niece and her nephew. And we often bonded over family and just the little things in life that made us happy. We talked about it often. For years, we would go to readings together. We would take turns driving, and we would just talk about our lives. And I think I miss that the most. It's never been the same after that. I don't look forward going to readings anymore just because I've lost my partner, really. And Gloria and Karen and I were also in a writing group together. So I missed seeing her words fresh off, out of her journal, fresh off the page. We would see it and we would read it and comment. And there's a lot about Karen that is missed. on a daily basis. Most of the things she talked about the most were her home. She loved it. She called it her coziest corner of the world. She loved her fur babies. When I first met her, she had 2 cats and 2 dogs. And she, every morning, regardless of how cold it was, she would go out, fill up the bird feeder. And she talked a lot about making eggs for Rich, especially on Saturday mornings. We'd be online talking and she'd be like, all right, guys, I got to go. Rich is up. I got to make eggs. And so I miss little things like that. But the poem that I'm going to read from her last collection kind of encapsulates all of the things that, were important to her. It's called April Morning. My AM rituals, and the paper came today. Yay. 2 dogs and a cat racing together down the morning stairs. I eat a bowl of oatmeal with blueberries, walnuts over the morning paper, having brought out seed and watching the squawking blue jays and squirrels at the feeder. I turn on the computer and connect with my fellow human beings who send messages and post pictures of springtime, buds miraculously opening against blue skies. I feel blessed to live on this planet. Later, time for yoga while the chai brews. Then back upstairs with my journal and pen for some meditating on the page, gazing out at trees with tiny new leaves budding. I am grateful for this life, for each day, no matter the weather, for everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Renuka. And next, I welcome Rich.
Hi, thanks, Gloria and Renuka, for putting this together. And you all know what an incredible person Karen was. I just am super blessed to have been the one who got to spend every day with her. We met back in 1994 and moved in together in 1996, and we're together right up to the end. I'm going to read one called Ovarian Cancer, Advanced Stage. I am sorry, dear body, for ignoring the cancers growing inside you, lo these many months, for ignoring the pummeling pain. I thought I was doing right by you, eating vegan, living clean, but for whatever reason, the tumor on the right ovary grew, seeded itself, and spread like wildfire up and down the abdomen from rectum to diaphragm. Now, like so many others, I've got the big C and am fighting tooth and nail to eke out another 5 years. My game plan, inspired by Catherine Mansfield, dead at 34 of TB, ingest poetry, words, music, beauty, every day. Let it all wash through you and try, oh try, to put it all down on the page.
Okay, next, Mark Danowsky.
Hi, Gloria. Thank you for having me. Wow. So I only had the opportunity to publish one poem in One Art before, tragically, Karen passed away. But 4 poems posthumously that Rich sent, which are excellent. I was thinking many things. For one, that I just know way too many people that died too young. And also that what's beautiful about people that write and poets and artists is they do leave us with their words. So in a way, they can speak for themselves when they're not here, which is really something special. And then many more thoughts, some of which are escaping me. So the poem I picked to read was the one that Karen published in One Art before her death. It's a close call because there's another one that was really asking to be read, but anyway, I'm going to read The Boy. The boy was 7 or 8 years old, only wanted to kill the baby fish. Only wanted to kill the baby tiny fish that idyllic summer day, to gather them in warm runnels, then throw down armfuls of sand, then stomp them with all his might. His mother sat placidly nearby, reading a book. His baby sister dug industriously with a tiny trowel. I sat feet away, aghast at this gleeful mass murder, but mute, because on beautiful summer days all the world over, boys will be boys.
Pui Ying Wong.
Thank you, Gloria. So the poem I read from Karen is in her earlier book, Tales from Teacup Palace. It's called Windows Are Open. Windows are wide open to the trees, to the birds, to the day. Only this world, only to praise it. Tunneling deep into my own exhaustion, I find I can barely lift a pen. Mr. Crow cleaves in half this day, and a small dog slumbers against my back. There is something to be said for loving your life exactly as it is. These dogs, these songs, this summertime.
Tim Suermondt.
Yes, I'm going to read from, excuse me, The Teacup as well. And I want to just mention that sometimes what really separates a poet is the word choice. And in this poem, especially in the last line, that word choice is ridiculously. And when you think about it, so much ridiculousness about our lives. We have theories, ideas, but we don't know exactly why we're here. We don't know what's going on. We don't know exactly what we should do. We have an idea again, but who knows about any of this? And we know that the movie doesn't end well. But there's a lot of beautiful ridiculousness about, and that's what Karen realized and wrote about quite often. So I think that was stunning and very brave of her, especially while she was going through, multiple health problems. This is the poem, Ridiculously Alive. I am thinking about the small spaces I inhabit and the tiny things I see every day, the very stones on the road. I'm thinking that I will continue to reject that which insults my soul. This gets easier every year. I'm turning my mind instead to everything that is now living. My husband on the couch, reading the paper, the dogs, softly snoring beside us, the late summer crickets with their fading serenade. Everything I know dies, but this does not grieve me right now, because at this moment, everything is so brilliantly, almost ridiculously alive. Thank you.
Kyle Potvin.
Hi, everybody. Gloria, Rich, Renuka, thank you so much for bringing us all together to celebrate Karen. I can't even remember exactly where we met. It probably was a Mass Poetry Festival or New Hampshire Poetry Festival, but we stayed connected. And then once she got sick, we kind of connected over the fact that I'd been in cancer treatment for breast cancer years before. And during that time, poetry writing and reading was really helpful to me. And you know how it is when you have a friend who's ill and you want to do something and there's really not, especially when you're not very close by, what do you do? So I started sending her Monday poems. And so every Monday I would send a poem. It could be It might be illness inspired, it might be just funny, it might be whatever kind of seemed to fit the moment. And it just gave me that weekly connection that we could have. So one time I had asked her, what's your favorite poem that you've ever written? And I think it was around January of 24. She sent me 2 poems. So I wanted to read one of those. Watching animal rescue videos has become my bag. Vicariously, I'm the tiny pink pig fallen through the slats of the slaughterhouse-bound truck, nursed back to life by a loving young couple. And the abused dog, the donkey, the impossibly small baby bird, miraculously healed through great love and care. I'm the whole world right now, bombed, massacred, waiting for ceasefire, waiting for spring, for the grass to grow back. Enraptured by the universe, the dog's heavy sigh, I lay abed, dying while hoping. Despite everything, I like it right here.
Andrea Johnson?
Hello, everyone. I met Karen through a friend who shared a hospital room with Karen. And characteristically, Karen was very kind to her during their stay. And my friend wanted me to meet her and arranged a luncheon because my friend knew that I was interested in poetry. So this is a poem I wrote after we met, and I think you can hear how inspired I was by Karen's presence and also how I was trying to impress her. I forgot to tell you. Today we met for lunch, arranged by a mutual friend, at a street-side cafe birthed by a pandemic. I forgot to tell you, a published poet, about my driving Robert Pinsky home so many years ago. And also, I never shared about my ancestor, an Irish poet, whose work does not resonate with me, except for his poem, Our Bed and Breakfast Hostess, printed on the paper placemats of her Adair establishment. I did tell you about my taking a course with Helen Vendler at the Yates Summer School in Sligo, but did I tell you that I bought her a beer at the Harp Tavern? Do you remember I told you I've seen Billy Collins twice in person? I forgot to tell you that I attended an event with Seamus Heaney, whom you met when you worked at Harvard. Most of all, I never told you that you, sitting across from me, were so beautiful, with your blue cap allowing tiny, emerging silver hairs to show near your ears, your big, unusual brown eyes, your bowed lips, and your spirit, reflecting gentle strength in the face of what's gone before and what's to come. Perhaps one day I will tell you. So that poem I sent to Karen eventually, and she connected me with Gloria and Rich, and so I'm very grateful for that. This is a poem, and that poem was published in the Trevena Barber Press, August 2023. This poem, I think, is so beautiful, and it's such a reminder from Karen to be aware, to appreciate, to live. I think it speaks to Karen's wisdom and also a little bit to her humor. This was in One Art, June 2024. This gracious planet, try to align yourself with the brilliance of the morning. Take in the new green leaves and delve deeply into this day. Say your own kind of prayer every morning to the life force that animates this gracious planet, to beauty, to freshness. This languid morning with its wind blown about wind chimes will never come your way again. So savor the sunlight, dappling trees, and let cool breezes wash you clean. Glory in being on this side of the sod. Thank you.
The next reader I heard so much about from Karen, and she was so proud of you, and that is Zora Day-Friedland.
Hi, guys. Well, first, I just want to say thank you so much for organizing this. I'm Karen's niece, and Karen gave to me her love of zines and her love of poetry, and also her physical zine collection, which I've been so lucky to inherit and is now going to be in the Barnard Zine Library, which is where I go to school. And I just grateful for Karen. Yeah, I'm going to read a poem from Our Imperfect Bodies, which I have right here. And it's called Where Have You Walked? Let us all enjoy what life we have left. Let's chat with neighbors, wave to babies, rest abed with snoring pets. Let's glory in the rain, even if the storm was rough, with its fierceness and nearness of death. Ask, where have you walked, and what have you dreamed on this daily planet? What immense and small beauties have your eyes seen? You have it all inside you now, every moment. You are awfully lucky to have been here. Thank you.
Jennifer Franklin.
Hi, Gloria, Rich, and Renuka. It's so nice to be here to celebrate Karen's poetry today. I had the pleasure of knowing Karen through Facebook and through publishing one of her poems in this anthology that I co-edited with Pachenda Bao and Nicole Callahan. It's called Braving the Body. And you can all listen to Karen read this beautiful poem. It is online at the Braving the Body website. Been wonderful hearing all of her work today. This is called It Recurred. Yes, this cancer is doing its damnedest to kill me, and it will eventually. This is guaranteed. But right now, my scrappy, hardy body prevails, spills words onto pages, accepts hugs from neighbors, makes savory dinners, appreciates fall crickets. I am living a somehow sweeter life here on the precipice, with a gut full of growing tumors on the knife edge of hope and terror. At this tender moment, my death is merely theoretical, and life is all I'll ever know.
LaWanda Walters.
Let's see. Well, I love Karen so much. She was full of life, and yet she was, as she said, my scrappy, she'd be in there right with you, whatever the cause was. And I'm not going to be political today. So, but she was just a ray of sunshine during some horrible times. And I wrote a poem for her. Should I read that first and then read hers? Yeah. Okay. Hotel Eden, in memory of Karen Friedland. I wish you a Joseph Cornell box, one he made himself from secondhand stores or the five and dime, with postcards sent from old vacations, cursive letters and faded blue ink, children's rubber balls and mirrors, jacks, magazine pictures, and a fishing cork. Somehow he'd devise the celestial. White magic, he'd called it, the opposite of the surrealists' work. A marble in each of 5 clear aperitif glasses set upon one shelf, a photo of a parrot for Juan Gris. He finagled in universes and miles of air and impenetrable secrets, placed them just exactly right in his basement workshop. The air, the small compartments painted white like walls in the tropics, the parakeet in Hotel Eden, like a concierge trying to arrange a connection for someone, holding the end of a coil of wire in its upraised beak, a regular telephone operator. Only connect, covered them with glass, made them immortal. Outside, on the back lawn of the house where he took care of his brother and mother, he was cavorting with his true love, the artist who painted red dots everywhere, Yayoi Kusama. There are photographs of them together, until his strict mother, who liked spying from her bedroom window, dumped a pail of water down on their earthly delights. How I wish your doctors had found Cornell's deft combination of elixirs in time, an aperitif glass clear on a shelf for you. Let's see. I'm sorry. I had some. Well, only connect in places that are gone. Summertime teenagers laugh raucously on street corners. Evening cicadas beat out a symphonic roar. The sleeping kitten puts all four paws on my bare leg. She craves contact. We all do.
Okay, next is Robin Flicker.
I'm very happy to be with all of you. I have to say that when Kyle, I was so delighted when you said that Karen sent you. I have, since I had the thought, well, this became a thing. I just, I think I want to say that one thing that really strikes me about Karen is that she's a very, I used to say to my former husband, you don't really know a person until you've divorced them. Like, don't talk to me, because I think it's true. I think that, if there's love, then it's still love. And I think that's true about life too. Like, you don't really know a person. It's like that some people have so much presence that, so Karen, maybe because she was always half imaginary to me, I'm not sure, but her, she is such a, like, she wasn't kidding when she said on the whole world right now. I think that that most people, as they're dying, or many people, they get smaller. And Karen, again, I'm saying this with the humility of someone that I didn't know her, but she just became bigger in this way. She's suffused to me. She's so present. And she has and I will just say that Helen Bendler was aware of her. I used to read Karen's poetry, and Helen she rooted for Karen. So anyway, I was really so excited because it just came to me. I thought, like, well, I'll just know which poem it was. So it's the one that sounded so much to me like Karen. And so, Kyle, when you read it, I thought, like, oh my God, it's true, the voice I hear. Anyway, yeah. Karen had something that Helen Bendler called in her book, Last Books, binocular vision, sort of the ability to look at both life and death through binoculars with fairness to both. And I think especially in this book, Karen achieves that, this looking at life and death, and just with a sort of egalitarian, like it all became alive. Well, I don't need to say, but I just want to say how much I appreciate that, and how much she resounds for me. So watching animal rescue videos has become my bag. Vicariously, I'm the tiny pink pig fallen through the slats of the slaughterhouse-bound truck, nursed back to life by a loving young couple. I'm the abused dog, the donkey, the impossibly small baby bird, miraculously healed through great love and care. I'm the whole world right now, bombed, massacred, waiting for ceasefire, waiting for spring, for the grass to grow back. Enraptured by the universe, the dog's heavy sigh, I lay abed, dying while hoping. Despite everything, I like it right here. Such a beautiful poem.
My heart is so full listening to all of you, share your own poems as well as Karen's. And thank you so much. Is there anybody that, changed their mind maybe and would like to say a few words or read, or if I missed anyone, please feel free to unmute yourself and say something. Okay, I guess we do have everyone then, and
I'm sorry, I would like to share something.
oh, thank you. Yes, go ahead.
So yes, hi, my name is Mia. And I knew Karen through the old days. I met her when I worked at New Words Bookstore. And I don't many people may not remember that was at Cambridge. It was a women's bookstore. And I met her because she would bring in By Girl World. And she was selling it as a zine. And so we would just chat and we got to know each other through just back and forth of talking. And so I knew Karen as a young queer girl, and we're living the girl world life. And so she had began writing at that time. She had always wrote, but it was I feel another side to Karen that I got to meet and explore and talk about like movies and talk about um, just things in the sort of the early mid 90s of what it meant to be queer in Boston, which was uh, which was a pretty, it actually was like a sort of a renaissance. And I remember she told me the night she had met Rich, and we shared that when we were talking in the car. Um, and in our relationship sort of um, had a sort of a break for a minute, and then it revived again on Facebook. And so then got to know her as this other part of her life. I mean, the queerness never left, but in her relationship with Rich, which meant a lot to her. I'm sorry. Oh, can you hear me? Yes. Um, and so for her to have the Teacup Palace was like such classic Karen. So she sort of had that thing about like a little bit like about like royalty and tea and having that that kind of world. And so when she was diagnosed and she was so like very clear about how to move forward, and I really respected like in terms of how when she talked about her life doula and like how like she was so clear-minded um about it, so clear about what the steps were. But my memory of Karen is she was a sort of like a sprite. Um, I remember her picture when she was in when undergrad, she had like long hair, like this very flowy long hair. And then she sort of cut her hair to like, I guess, I don't know, to to be more queer, but I don't know. But she had like, but she had always this uh, very like long hair prior to that. But I remember Karen is someone you could, just have just not just conversation, but you could explore things with, explore ideas, explore feelings. We could talk about, things that were very emotional. Um, and I treasure that period of time of being, particularly in that stage of life, having someone like Karen, that you could just um, sort of explore life with, explore what feelings meant, and also in uh, in friendship, I learned from Karen that friendships can ebb and flow, and they can be in good places, and they can be in hard places, and they can still sustain because if the love is there, it sustains. So, thank you.
Happy you shared with us. Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to share anything?
Hi, did I properly unmute myself?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Great. I'm Tina. I met Karen back in middle school, and I'm just gonna show my face because I was in my garden. So, uh-oh. Um, there I am. I'm sorry. I'm in my garden. And I was listening, and everything is so beautiful. And thank you so much for this event. It was beautiful. I met Karen back in middle school. And she was frequently, when we had writing prompts in English, she and I were frequently paired together. And sometimes I just wasn't feeling English first thing in the morning. And she kind of got things going with whatever the writing prompt was. And then I was able to get into it. But sometimes I just wasn't feeling morning English class. So now, looking back 45 years and listening to her poetry, I can kind of understand how she was, ready to go in that. She just had something inside of her and things just needed to get out. And I was just happy that our paths crossed in this life. And Rich, always thinking about you, always praying for you. We've never met, but you're in my heart just because you were in Karen's heart, and she was just a good person. And we reconnected on Facebook, and I was happy that she shared her battle with so many people, and I was able to share her battle with people that I knew that were going through the same or similar things. And she helped other people by just sharing all around. And thank you.
So I'd like to jump in. Hey, Tina, this is Jodi.
Jodi, hey!
Karen and I actually were elementary school friends.
Okay.
And Susan, I think, are you her sister?
Yes.
And Linda, I'm guessing you are the mom. Well, I used to spend a lot of time over at your house after school. And Rich, it's nice to meet you as well. I know we've had a couple communications back and forth. But Karen was a really good friend. And in fact, I shared a couple of photos with Rich. She came to birthday parties. I remember being over at the house there. I remember the big fish tank in your house. And I remember always she was writing, even back then. So that was kind of cool. We lost touch. I live in Maryland. She obviously was not in Maryland as she got a little bit older, but I think Shun may be on the call here from elementary school too. We've had reunions, and I caught up with Karen. I think it may have been our 30th reunion, and I got to talk to her as we walked in, and we never regrouped again. So I never really caught up with her, but we communicated through Facebook a bit. But it's so wonderful to see the support and to hear all these great things that people have shared today. It's just it makes me feel good. She was a great person for sure.
Oh, I'll say something. You guys can hear me? Yeah. Okay. I didn't have anything prepared because I thought it might be a little too emotional, but I know how much this community meant to her. And it's a beautiful thing to do this and to celebrate her work with the people who loved and cared for her. I mean, the thing about Karen is she did see the world in her own special way, in a gentle way, in an observant way, and just a love of natural things and beauty. And yeah, and I'm so glad that poetry and her connections through, social media and email and gifts and all those things really it was able to keep her world so much bigger as her world became smaller. So I think this is a beautiful thing, and especially love to you, Rich.
Anyone else?
Hi, I'd like to say something real quick. I'm Rob Denton. I'm a childhood friend of Richa's, and so met Karen early on in their relationship. So I knew her first as a friend, not as a poet. But I wanted to I mean, everything everyone's saying is so beautiful, and this is a wonderful occasion. I'm so grateful. My wife and I are grateful to be here. I feel like she has such a special, I want to call it spirituality. I don't know if that's the word she would use, Rich, if she would say that, but I know her poems had a lot of spirituality in them for me. There's obviously how brave she was and how simple she was in approaching the process she had to go through, which obviously was so difficult on many levels, but she never showed that side that I saw. I saw the side where she wrote her poems throughout those years, and these poems to me are examples of my favorite types of poems. To me, I would call them very Zen. They're deceptively simple and beautiful, and they impact you sometimes later on with the profundity that's captured in the simple words and the simple statements. And overall, I'm just so grateful to have known her, and my wife and I just love her spirit. Um, the world needs a lot more people like Karen, just always positive and beautiful. And I found that in our friendship, but also in her poetry. And I was so proud of her and amazed to know someone who published so many poems and books and did it so consistently, and how well they reflected who she was as a person in real life. So thank you all for organizing this. Really cherish it, and so grateful to have her memory live on. I think that's a huge testament to who she is, that we're all still here reading and talking about her and talking about her poems. And very inspirational person. So thank you for letting us be here.
Yeah, lovely.
Hi, this is Shun. I was couldn't figure out how to get off mute. And I can't get the video back up of me. So here I am. So yeah, Jodi, I was gonna jump in right after you. Yes, I've known Karen since elementary school. And I was actually kind of moved in to the neighborhood in fourth grade. And I didn't really know anybody. I did remember Jodi and Karen were one of my first friends in elementary school there. And again, probably like Jodi, I also spend some afternoons after school at the Freeland's house. And back then, Karen was really creative. I had never met anybody as creative as her. we would come home after school. We would, have the snacks like her mom wanted her and Susan to have, and then we start playing. Um, I remember her having these great big giant appliance boxes in their basement. And we would, at 9 years old, go down there and retrieve them. And we would put them in the backyard at Karen's house. And she came up with all these creative things with these big giant boxes. And did I go on mute? No, I didn't. Okay. And it was just so much fun. Like, we would play until Karen's mom came home from work. And um and of course there are times we did things that probably Karen's parents would not approve, but we would get into these boxes and slide down the steps going into the basement, because we thought, oh, this could be a car or a sled. So we would fly down the basement steps with these boxes. Nobody got hurt, but we would, get out and we would start laughing and giggling, and it was the best time. Um, Karen was the first person that introduced me to black mollies, which were these fish, special fish that they had in their aquarium in the house. And it was the neatest thing. And I guess they had little guppies, and she showed me, how they took care of them. And that was really my first experience with aquariums. And, and then there were these aquarium snails that she had. And she's like, here, you can have some snails. So I took them home. And here I am. We had no aquarium at my house. I had a little dish, like a glass dish. It had enough of a rim, so I stuck my little two snails in there. Well, they didn't live too long. And I remember Karen coming over to my house, and we would give those snails a funeral, buried them in my mom's garden. And, she would say some words. And, it was just like she was there when was my first experience with death. She was there with me to guide me through it, even though I don't know how she would have known, but it was very, emotional for me because it was my first pets, two snails, and they didn't survive. And I felt awful, but she was there. She helped me bury them in my mom's front yard. There was a patch of dirt where we just decided to put the snails there. And, just the creativity, the support, even from a young age, the empathy, it was just wonderful. And, after elementary school, we knew we would come across each other, but we weren't in any classes. And that also took place, we weren't in any classes even in high school. But I do remember her lovingly. Again, like Jodi, Karen had come to some reunions and we would catch up there. And, it was just like, wow, you haven't really changed in terms of the genuine Karen character that I fell in love with when I was in elementary school. And it was always there. And even as she was going through her illness, um, actually prior to that, we had connected through Facebook. I remember she had said that, oh, I've got some extra seeds. Does anybody want them? I was like, sure, I'll try them. And she sent them to me. And, just to be honest, I don't have a very good green thumb. I tried, and they bloomed for 1 year, and then that was it. So again, very patient. Doesn't matter if you fail, she's always there. And that's how I will continue to remember her. And I'm sure many of you guys have had those similar experiences. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Anyone else? Okay. I just want to say this was such a beautiful and heartfelt tribute. Thank you so much, everyone, for making this tribute so special. And, you know, all I can say is our hearts, will always be with Karen. And
Could I do one more poem, possibly?
yes, please do. That would be really nice.
Okay. I just want to say what Rob was saying about the Zen-like nature of Karen. Towards the end, in her words, she said she transcended and, just came to appreciate being in the day and savoring every bird song and every dog sigh and every molten sunset, which is something I try to aspire to, but it's really hard to do. We're supposed to do it, but anyway. I wanted to read one more poem. This is the one called The Lady in the Wicker Basket. And Karen's burial plot is in a place called the Gardens of Gethsemane, a cemetery just about 5-minute drive from our house. So this is the Lady in the Wicker Basket. I will be buried in the garden of faith at the Gardens of Gethsemane, buried in a wicker casket under a lush green field, in a green burial. And to the soil I'll go, rich and loamy, feeding the trees I love. I'll snuggle up to the earth. Fleet deer and foxes will amble over me. I don't believe in heaven, while my neighbors seem to. But I do believe in the cosmos, that maybe I'll be out there. And my words, I'll leave them behind too. Little brightly colored shards, breadcrumbs.
Thank you, Rich. That's a perfect ending to this tribute. I don't know if perfect's the right word, but you know what I mean. And so thank you, everyone, for being here today and for sharing Karen's work and your memories. Again, thank you so much.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to say, and forgive me for not saying it before. I just wanted to say I'm so sorry for Karen's family, especially. Yeah, my heart goes out to you. It's easy for us who are poetry appreciators to miss her in that way, but it's different. And what a person and what a loss. I'm so sorry, Rich, for all of you.
Okay. Thank you, Robin. And again, my heart's with all of you. And thank you. And that'll be it for today. And I hope to see you all again, but under different circumstances. Thank you.